Okay, play the song. Hi, this is Mark Maloney, who you may know from such episodes of Celtic Ligers as Modern Life is Rubbish, or something like that, and also the Comedy Unleashed one. Gareth asked me to... No, hold on, he didn't ask me to do that. Gareth said I could put on an ad at the start of the show for Test Tube Babies, which is an alternative comedy night that I run in Cork and Collins. The next one's on the 15th of October. Shane Daniel Byrne is coming, so he's like proper famous. So that'll give you a feel for the caliber of people that we're working with. Gareth made the poster, so if you want to come and look at that, you'll find it at Mark Maloney. Maloney spelled MOLOWKNEE. Yeah, come to the show, 15th of October, and then the 29th also. Okay, wait. I forgot to mention that James is actually doing the show. Obviously, this would be the target audience for that. Put the music on again. This would be the target audience for that. James Moran will be at the show, and he does it all the time, and it'll be good. Thanks.
You're listening to a main feed episode. Go to patreon.com/Celtic Ligers, where €5 a month gets you weekly full-length episodes, stray bonus content and access to the back catalogue. Also helps cover hosting and gives us money for sweeties. Thank you. Celtic Ligers.
Recorded 8th of October 2024.
All right, we're recording. So what were you...
Balfour was Jewish, you were saying.
Balfour... Jewish...
Man.
Arthur Balfour... I think he was an anti-Semite. I think that was something that I knew about him.
There's no way he was an anti-Semite if he made Israel.
No, but that's the idea. He's like, they need somewhere to go, and it can't be around me.
That's a very benevolent form of anti-Semitism.
Yeah, no, but that's... Well, it's not...
You've conjured up.
He's like... That's just the way they view the world. As in, like, fucking, I'll carve off a piece and give it to you, just as long as you fuck off. And it's like...
He's friends with the Rothschilds.
Yeah.
He's Jewish.
He's not Jewish. Is he? Right into the podcast is something Balfour. Arthur... James Balfour. Was he Jewish?
Well, tell them what he did without looking it up.
I couldn't tell you. Well, I know that he did the Balfour Declaration, which I don't need to look up because I only looked it up 5 minutes ago. But it basically was the start of the Zionist project, where he was like, they should make a homeland for the Jewish people in Palestine. So he was responsible for that. He was labelled Bloody Balfour, but I don't know why that was. It was something to do with the Irish. No, it was something in Ireland. He did something in Ireland, but I wouldn't know.
Put blood libel, Gareth. Look it up.
Did you see that fucking article, by the way, in The Guardian? It was doing the rounds. Have you seen this thing?
Did you see the thing? There was the senator who said that the Jews run the world.
I wanted to talk about that. It's not a senator. It's a councilwoman. It's a councillor, and she didn't say that. She said something which was not racist, but was still wrong. And I don't mean wrong as in morally wrong. I just mean incorrect. But like, yeah. But this one, you have to hear this one if you haven't heard it before. Where's the fucking Observer? I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to lose my fucking shit right now. This guy wrote this opinion piece, which everybody's been talking about the whole weekend. Oh yeah, Howard Jacobson. So here we go. Listen to this. The headline: Tales of infanticide have stoked hatred of Jews for centuries. They echo still today. A year after the 7th of October attack, the myth of blood libel persists in the media coverage of Gaza violence. So what he says is, the whole argument of the piece is basically like, interesting that you keep talking about all the children that Israel killed. Don't you realize that you're actually dealing in tropes?
Yeah.
Didn't
Who
you?
said that?
Jacobson, Howard Jacobson.
And what race is he?
Hey, I'm not going in there. But no, what happened with that fucking thing that you're talking about was on the Dublin City Council, and apparently they were talking about the Occupied Territories Bill. And then this woman is like of Southeast Asian origin, who is a councillor. English is not her first language, okay? And she said, what we have to consider is that, what's her fucking name? I should probably get her name before I blood libel her. That's what that is, isn't it? Blood libel? I have no idea. No clue.
Yeah.
So her name is Councillor Poonam Rain. She basically says, she said that, I'll just try and read it from fucking Blue Hugh O'Connell. Fine Gael councillor apologises for telling council meeting last night the entire US economy today is ruled by the Jews, by Israel. So that's what she said, okay? So she said, by the
Fair
Jews,
enough.
by
Israel.
The entire US economy today is ruled by the Jews, by Israel. They will never be able to take a stance. Today, the elections in November, it will cripple the whole US economy if they take a stance. And therefore, they're afraid of taking a stance. That will never happen unless and until the global powers that are emerging take a stance themselves and make US take a stance. And that's what's happening. Why do you think there is so much of prolonged war, Russia and Ukraine, currently Palestine? Because nobody here is ready to take a stance. And therefore, I think we should take a stance, and US has to take a stance here in this case. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rane.
And then they are like moving on. James Gagan is there wearing his fucking stupid, he's got his like, what's that thing called?
Jewish.
The chain. The chain they have to wear as the Lord Mayor of whatever.
He's wearing the, what's the thing they wear? The thing that's it's like a priest, but what's a Jewish priest called again?
A rabbi?
Yeah. He's wearing what they wear. The shofar.
Yeah. So he's wearing that, and then the Conor Reddy's like, from PBP is like, can I just say something about that last? And then he's like, and then he tries to address, I've already forgotten her name. He tries to address Poonam, and maybe it's Punam. I don't know how to pronounce it. Sorry about that. And maybe I should have looked it up, but I didn't. But anyway, he starts to address her, and then James Gagan goes, no, you have to address her through me.
Yeah. The
And
rules
so
are here
like,
for a reason.
he's like, oh, okay. And then he turns over towards James Gagan, and then he says this thing to James Gagan, and then James Gagan goes, yeah, do you want to respond to that? And I was like, God, I fucking hate these guys.
Clarification.
Yes, Councillor.
Yeah, could I ask just Councillor Rane?
Well,
to
you
clarify-
address it through the chair.
Could I ask Councillor Rane, or could you ask Councillor Rane to clarify her remarks on Jews controlling the American economy? I think that's tremendously unhelpful. We're all here in solidarity of Palestine. It's about Zionism. To equate Judaism and Zionism is a complete fallacy. It's wrong. And I think we all stand against anti-Semitism, and be helpful if she could withdraw that particular use of words. I don't want to misinterpret what she was trying to say with those use of words. If she could.
Like, so then so Conor
So
Reddy
what did he
basically,
say?
Conor Reddy goes like, just to be careful about conflating Israel with the Jewish people. It's nothing, those aren't, we need to be mindful of that, essentially. And she goes,
But
yeah.
But that's not a language issue. You know
No,
what
it
I mean?
is.
It's not.
It absolutely
It's
is.
like, no matter where you're from. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Yeah,
No, I don't accept it. I
definitely.
don't accept it. No, because it happens all the time
Because
in it happens all the time in the Middle East. Is then they refer to the Israelis as Jews. It happens constantly.
Yeah,
because the
where's
Israelis
she from?
Huh?
And where's she from?
I'm just saying English isn't her first language.
No.
Is it possible?
For her, it's
she goes
not
the
an English
Jews
thing.
and then but Israel. And then it's like
No, she's doing it in the way. She's doing it in the way that like anyone over the age of 40 does in Ireland. You know what I mean?
no.
It's like
I don't accept
Jews
that.
derogatory / Israel.
No, I don't
Because in
accept.
her brain, right? She doesn't think Israel is called the Jews. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
She knows that not all Jews live in Israel and not all Israelis are Jews.
Mm-hmm.
In the Middle East, it's different because it's like we're talking about, like the way you would talk about travelers here.
Okay.
Um,
What would I?
you know?
Yeah.
It's like a colloquialism, you know?
Right.
Whereas for her, it's like she's conflated these two concepts that exist behind the language. You know what I mean? Like in wherever she's from, they have different words for Israel and Jew.
Well, what if she was Pakistani? Like, I don't know. I said Southeast Asian. I don't know where that implies. I'm just saying that, like, if you're Pakistani, then you could possibly be more likely to be Muslim. And then if you're Muslim, then it would be like it wouldn't be appropriate. It would be understandable that you might refer to them as the Jews, given that you're, the media you consume and stuff like this.
There's a billion Muslims. They live all over the place.
I'm just going to say right now,
half of them live in Dublin
these days. But like, I don't know. To me, this is my IMO. I didn't think she was. He said this. He was like, "Be careful not to make that conflation." And she was like, "No, I wasn't going after like an ethnic minority. I was just trying to say this." And he was like, "Okay, cool."
Councillor Rani, do you want to just clarify?
Yeah, that's fine. I didn't actually mean a particular community, but I'm just saying today the U.S. economy is ruled by the Israelis. It's not wrong. They have worked hard for it. That's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is U.S. is not unable to take a stance today because their financial dependency. That's all I'm saying.
I think Conor Reddy was very smart there. I think that regardless of what happened, he knew that if a councillor was given out about conflated the two things, even by accident, people just use it as a way to dismiss the whole thing.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly how he phrased it as well. He was like, just to be like, draw that distinction importantly,
But I think that she, has some other motivation going on. Like apparently in, Japan. The Chronicles of the Elders of Zion.
Yeah, I do know that. I sort of know that. But it's like about like an insidious cabal of Jewish people who control the universe, or control the world, basically.
Yeah, but in Japan, it's considered like a business book.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. I heard that about. Now this is also complete conjecture, but I heard that about India and Mein Kampf. Like they look at like, man, he managed to do a lot with quite a little country. Like, how can we emulate that over here? I mean, it's kind of like.
Like in India, they have like Hitler's fried chicken and stuff. You ever see that?
I haven't seen that. No. Again, something that's thrown up by James's algorithm that.
I saw it on iFunny in 2005.
Is that still going? Is it called I Laugh? Is that what it is?
I Laugh was the app. What was the website called?
Yeah.
I Laugh was Jason Byrne's app, wasn't it?
Yeah. Is that still going? Oh, God. This is so, apps are so like the AI of their day, aren't they? Where it's like, yeah, I'll do an AI. I'll do a comedy AI. The world's first comedy AI. And you're like, do you know what that means at all? Do you have any? Yeah, I'm going to do a comedy app. What does that mean? What does that fucking mean, man? What are you talking about? It's an app on your phone. Yeah, but like, what does it do?
Yes. Just takes up space.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you remember Jason Byrne? One of his big things about that app was that it he had like 100 coders working on it. It's like,
money well spent.
That doesn't make it good.
Yeah.
Were you a 9gag man?
I mean, well, no, I wasn't. I never like logged on to 9gag and looked at the shit that they had. I was on Imgur though. I used to do that, and I was like, yeah,
here's one from
9gag had come up. It did come up.
Here's one from the front page of 9gag, and I think you'll like this one. It's two women, right? And the first one is black, and she says, "Black women are just more naturally beautiful."
Okay. And that's it? I thought did it have to be a gag? Does it have to be a joke?
And then there's a white woman.
All right.
And she says, "Nice wig, by the way."
Ooh, what the fuck? I didn't know that they were like...
And that was written by Noel Le Pen. So... I
thought that a 9gag was like a kind of aggregator for just like banal kind of office humor sort of stuff.
Maybe this is the office humor. Like maybe in work, if I printed that out and put it on my desk, people come over and be like, very good.
Yeah, HR have called. Just want to say, love that post. Love that.
Can you send me that? Can you send me that over? I'm going to get a glass of water.
17 minutes in. Wouldn't have stuck it out, huh? I don't know if we'll talk about it again, but the Israelis invite the conflation. And then people say, oh, Jews. Oh, you're saying Jews do this? Like, you said Jews do this. Oh, I didn't say anything of the sort. Right? So Israel is the home of Israelis. No. Israel is the home state of the Jews. Okay. Anyway, not to say that everybody who's in Israel is Jewish, obviously. So then, this woman has clumsy English. Fine. And then one of our friends, one of our enemies, Foggy Jew, no longer the Foggy Jew. He was on Twitter. He took the coward's way out, though. He left when Elon took over because of anti-Semitism. And that's not cowardly. The cowardly part is that he came back, but he made his name Irish Election Projections. And he started posting stats, and then just kind of drifted into posting again. But the things that he puts out, it's like he's a Jewish man, and he'll be like, you know, obviously I condemn Netanyahu, but you have to admit, you know, Hamas and atrocities. And also, you know, I've seen some of the people that you're supporting, and they're not that great either. And it's like, I don't really, you know, when you share Hasidic Jews and you're just like, fair play to them for, you know, opposing the Zionist regime. Well, they've actually got some things that you mightn't understand, but I guess you're not ready to have that conversation. Any post like that. He was a Green until 2020, but that didn't. He helped them. He tried to get Claire Byrne, not that one, elected as a TD. And then when the plan for government happened, then he abandoned them. James is now. I was informing our listeners about the Foggy Jew while you were away.
Now, on to the news. What did he say?
Yeah, so he was just called "You're one a mad racist," and said if it were any other place. Wait, what was I? Yeah, anyway, he left. To finish a point that I was saying before, he was in the Greens until 2020, and he helped campaign for Claire Byrne, not that Claire Byrne, and then
the TV,
the TV, and he was trying to get her on. He was trying to make her a green TV, and that was the problem because she was already on TV. But anyway, he. Then after the plan for government, he left the Greens and he joined on Rorta's Gloss. And since October 7th, he has kind of been like, oh, what's happening over there is appalling. But I've seen some of you dealing in tropes and when you're calling it out and falling into this, worrying trend of anti-Semitism, which is on the rise and we really need to address and consider. And it's just like, I'm just getting kind of irritated about, like, you need to prioritize a bit, man, you know? And then in this instance, like, he was like, this was anti-Semitic. And then a guy we've talked about before on the podcast, do you know Sammy McCaster?
No.
But he was basically like, I think that she was wrong, but she was, you know, articulating something incorrectly with her fractured English, essentially. And
I think it's, you know, she is like, there are two types of racism, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's this sort of background radiation level. And then there's that, like, everyone has, you know what I mean? And then there's like the bad kind.
Yeah.
So I think that she just has the background radiation kind. That even
the
leftists
unconscious
such as
one.
yourself, you and me, yeah, exactly.
Well, I just think like the reason that I was kind of annoyed by this was because he is kind of like saying what he said was she was an anti-Semite and she should have to resign, but people don't care about the Jews here, so that's obviously not going to happen.
No, he needs to get a grip, like, yeah.
And and he did it in such a way, he was going like, oh, and then, so this guy responded, and then he kind of sent on a bunch of messages, Sammy, and he just was like, just to be absolutely clear, so that you don't think that, like, so I'm not misconstrued. And I was like, oh, don't worry, this man will find a way to misconstrue it. And then what he basically said, if I just fucking pull this up now, he blocked me immediately because I posted on it. So now I can't like even see what he's saying, which is irritating me.
Don't even know why I'm bothering with this. This is me from the future. Here are the tweets, if you care. Irish election projections retweets basically the story that we were just talking about. Quite the statement from Councillor Rain to say the US economy is ruled by Jews/Israel, then when corrected to say that she in fact meant that the US is financially dependent on them. ... This level of racism is a resigning issue, and if the councillor has no shame, then Fine Gael must act. Sammy responds, saying the US is financially dependent on Israel, brackets, as opposed to Jews, is factually wrong but not racist. Irish election projections responds, I'll assume good faith and try to explain. Councillor Rain expressed an anti-Semitic trope and tried to correct it by saying Israel instead of Jews. Saying the US is financially dependent on Israel seemed in this case a conclusion based on priors, read Jews and money. Sammy responds, oh, for sure, the original statement was anti-Semitic. That does not a priori make the latter statement racist. The whole thing occurs in a context where there is a huge effort to conflate Nazi Zionism with Judaism, especially by Zionists. Mistakes in language will occur. I think it's logical enough to draw the conclusion you have based on our understanding of conspiracy theories, etc., but people are also trying to square misinformed beliefs of the US as a force for democracy or order, with the US giving Israel free rein. This leads to incorrect, but not racist, theories of unique Israeli dominance over the US, when Israel itself is a function of Western imperialist agendas, and it is maintained in the interests of the West, not the other way around. It's good she was pulled up and that she walked it back and corrected, but unless she has a track record of these kinds of statements, maybe she does, I don't know them, I think that's really all there is to it. Sorry for the post, just needed to explain so I'm not taken wrongly. So now back to our broadcast already in session.
So anyway, your man responds to Sammy saying, it would have been quicker to simply say you don't understand or want to understand anti-Semitism and how it manifests, and how you believe in clear lines between things that are complexly entangled. But this is my fault for assuming good faith, honestly. Then just block Sammy immediately. So Sammy just posted like, of course, now that I've been blocked, I'm unable to respond directly, but suffice to say, I don't agree with Zionist framing on matters. It is not a matter of understanding or not. I don't understand the dynamic. I understand the dynamics extremely well. I simply don't agree, and they can't refute me. So like, but I just posted like, I genuinely was like, because I then logged on to your one. So your one did an apology, and she was like, I completely retract everything I said last night, and I'm sorry. And then the first comment I saw underneath it was somebody going like, diversity hire backfiring.
Fuck.
And there's just like all these people being like openly racist towards her, and then all huge Zionists just descending on her to tell her like, you should be sorry, how dare you should have to resign, but of course Ireland is super anti-Semitic, so of course they're not going to make you resign. And I was just like, Harry McEvan Sonia is the foggy Jew, and he is like a white passing man, you know. He's, you know, of an ethnic group that is targeted, obviously. But then him standing and sitting there as like an arbiter of like, you are actually racist and you should be ashamed of yourself. And I was just like just joining in the pylon on this brown woman who it is entirely possible that she could just have incredibly bad English and have misspoke this time. That's what I feel personally. And I was just like, you know.
It's like that thing you see on the Irish subreddit where someone's like, you know that I live in England, and my coworker made a joke about the famine. If I
Yeah.
was black and he called me the N word, that'd be different somehow.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
exactly. Yeah.
It's like get a grip. Like it's not everything is flat. You know what I
No,
mean? Like
it's
some
not.
things are
Like-
worse than others.
And that's the thing I'm getting about with this guy is that he's a perfect green. You can't take the green out of him. He is this scold. He is this because what ended up happening was he left the Greens and then he then was like in on Rorty's Gloss and he was saying he would be posting stuff from like PBP and it was like, yeah, you're not really going to win over the left with talk like this. And I was like, how about you shut the fuck up and sit this one out? You were in the Greens until like a year ago. Do you know what I mean? Like he loves scolding people. And that's the type of Green thing as well, where it's like, you should be eating your fucking vegetables. You should be, you know, everything that they do. And I've said it, just repeating myself again, the Greens do is punitive. Okay. There is no positive vision for a Green Ireland. So he was perfectly suited in that party. Now he's there and he's doing his Irish election projections where he'll do like, you know, interesting data coming in from the Red Sea Ipsos poll. And you're just like, fucking shut up, you dork. But like, then on top of that to be like, to see him get so animated to be like, fuck you, you racist, you know, you should be resigned. But of course, people don't care about the Jews. And then when anytime things come up with Israel, you're just like, I don't really see that fire in your belly for this stuff, man. You're talking about the worrying creep of anti-Semitism when there's an actual Arab Holocaust going on. Do you know? Like, it's quite wild to me, the things that he decides to post about. And so that's why I hate that guy, and I got really mad at him, and then I said something, and then he just decided...
What did you say?
I'll send you the link. If I can find... Like, I don't know how to get it, because he blocked me, and I don't remember the password to my alt accounts, and my phone is upstairs.
Send me the link to the thread.
Yeah.
And I'll see what you said there.
Yeah. It's good, though, because sometimes you're like, why the hell did that guy block me? And then... it's for me like posting a clown emoji at somebody or something like that, and then to like be blocked and then be like, this is a noble way to be blocked. It's a good day to die, you know.
It is a good day to die.
I was saying as well before while you were away that he's also like a coward because he's like, I'm leaving Twitter. This place has gotten too anti-Semitic. And then he started up a new account a few months later called Irish Election Projections, which was just meant to be data. And then slowly drifted into him just tweeting. So I was like, you came crawling back. I guess it wasn't that fucking anti-Semitic, was it? You know?
I'm trying to see where your reply might have been.
You could just go on to the Ligers replies. Maybe I could just go on to the Ligers replies.
No, I have it here. It says, go back to Israel. We don't want you here. No, you said... the councillor is a she.
Yeah, because...
yes, exactly.
Sammy was saying that they were a he, but they weren't. No.
Okay.
It was a real hate follow, though. I really did enjoy it. Like, I'll genuinely be at home and something horrible will happen that Israel has done, and I'll be like, it's Harry's take on this. I'll like look it up and then be reading it out to Zainab because she fucking can't stand him either, and she's like, stop. Because he'll have some sort of like, you know, well, you know, obviously I don't agree with Netanyahu and I hate him more than anything, but... And then you're like, fuck, that's stupid.
He was away... I think he was away on October 7th.
Yeah.
I would like to hear his take. I was looking up the Jewish holidays there the other day. And you know, they've like Yom Kippur and Hanukkah and all that. But did you know that Israel they keep making Jewish holidays?
Really? That's funny.
Yeah. So there's one that was like for the 6 Days War. Or like the 1967 expansion or whatever, you know?
I heard something about the 6 Days War that it either went for more or less days, but they just pretended that it went for 6 days so they could make it biblical.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they They just keep, but they all have like Hebrew names, so they all sound proper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas we
They
don't
did
really do that.
I was thinking about this. So Iran sent a bunch of missiles to Israel, or ballistic missiles, and then which apparently just tear through the Iron Dome. Like the Iron Dome is completely ineffective against them. And then Israel is like this. They go, "You didn't even kill any children, you fucking idiots! These stupid Arabs somehow managed to fire a bunch of missiles and only hit military infrastructure." Like, what was it? I'm just looking through my articles, seeing what the Israel ones comes up. Oh yeah, so like what happens is they're like, all right, we're gonna. I don't know if you've seen this, but they go to they're like, Ireland, they were in like, the United Nations outpost, the Irish United Nations outpost. They're like, yeah, you're going to want to evacuate there because we're heading in with tanks. And then Ireland were like, no, we're grand, actually, we'll stick around.
Oh, yeah.
And then what they did is they just planted a tank menacingly opposite the outpost with just a gun. And I was just like, imagine like that, where you're just like, you come in and you're like holding a gun and you're just like, I'm just holding this gun. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Because like all these people, because Michael D was like, they're fucking threatening our lads out there. And a lot of the commentariat here, all the guys who like love following Ukraine like it's a football match, they were like, point the threat to me. What was the fucking threat? They just said to leave, and then the Irish people refused to leave.
Like,
Yeah.
But
it's like, no, you better leave, because I won't be responsible for what happens when we start indiscriminately firing on civilians,
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't like the Irish were just like, oh, we're staying.
Yeah.
They're part of like a peacekeeping force.
Yeah.
They're like, it's not like, came from pretty high up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Came from above Paddy's head,
Nah, we did it. I think we did it. This is the one that I want to give us credit for. We were there and we were like, we ain't budging, buddy. By the way, but imagine like, but like when they were like, the Irish fishermen who gave Putin a black eye, the guys who refused to, and then it's like those same guys applauding those fellas are like, the guy who drove his fucking van into the gates of the Russian embassy, like a fucking legend, only in Ireland. And then the same people, they're like, what do you mean? Show me the threat. Where did Israel threaten anybody? And they're just sitting there with like a gun pointed at your head. It's like, I could pull the trigger. I'm not going to. I'm not going to,
Someone was on the radio recently. Some Fianna Fáil. What was her name? Mary Harney? Which one is Mary Harney?
She was the former Minister for Health during...
And who's the other one?
Mary O'Rourke, who died last week.
It wasn't her.
Okay, so there's somebody on the radio, and what was their deal?
Mary.
Mary...
Hannafin?
Mary Hannafin sounds familiar. That's like a Fine Gaeler, I think. Hannafin.
Anyway.
Oh, no, yeah. That sounds about right, yeah.
Whatever Mary it was.
Fianna Fáiler.
She was like... she was really going after...
Michael D.
Yeah.
Michael D's nuts.
Maybe not got what you said. What was her name again? Mary Hannafin. We'll say. Michael D. As I call him, Mealdy.
Yeah, or as I call him, Meal Deal.
Meal. Do people actually call him that?
No, I don't know. Just think how much more. I guess I'm tired and I'm trying to think of how much more we can like reduce the word Miggledy. I call him.
All I can find is an article from the Irish Independent from 2010, and it says, I sensed my husband had died. That's not an accomplishment. Let's try the other.
Wouldn't be Mary Harney. Just type in Mary. Do you say she was on the weekend show? It'd be Brendan O'Connor.
My mum told me about this.
So his mum tells him about things. Stop it. Shut up. Mary Brendan O'Connor Israel. What I'm getting is a 2015 article by Brendan O'Connor that says, "Happy birthday to my baby girl Mary." We're finding all sorts.
Yeah. That was an article.
Yeah, by the way, I'm not going to read it because I just couldn't bear it. But I was looking at the op-eds to see if there was any stuff that worth talking about. And of course, Brendan O'Connor comes up and says, "Brendan O'Connor, life has become a Beckett play. We can't go on. We must go on." Now, the opening line goes, "The more we go on, and we must go on, the more we realize Beckett knew it all. We just didn't understand what he was at because it hadn't happened yet. And then suddenly we're living in a Beckett play. You have to imagine two characters. Pick two actors. I'm not going to go on. But the picture is of Paschal Donohue and Jack Chambers. And it's clearly about budget 2025. And I was like, oh, like, just that thing about, like, he gets paid for this. He's got a radio show. They keep giving him fucking TV shows. He writes articles. And it's just like, you know, like, they just look like, so he hands that over to another person. And they look at that and go, "Thank you, Brendan." And then they put that in the paper. And then it was like, "Sorry, any feedback?" "You know, no feedback for you, Brendan. Just print it. I'm not even going to check for fucking typos."
Yeah, we just love it. We love everything you do. I can't find this. I'll ask my mom later.
Okay, cool. And then I'll insert it later when you text me back about it. Record a voice note and I'll put it in. Yeah.
But it was something to do with, she was like, "He's lost his mind. He's a lunatic."
Yeah, they really do think, like, anything that he says about, like, you know, here's the thing that was funny. Okay, so as many things are funny, but no, he said at one point that, like, the Israelis, like, leaked some letter that he wrote to the new leader in Iran to make him look bad or whatever, and then they were like, "Paranoid much?" And then after we recorded, the boys, the group chat boys, Gavin Riley and Richard Chambers. Imagine Jack Chambers.
And the other one,
like
Zara.
She wasn't there. She wouldn't ask a question like this. It was only the fellas, just the lads shooting the breeze. But let me just play this for you, actually. So I'm going to share screen.
In terms of that phone call, which they said happened, did that phone call ever take place?
No.
Not alone at that time, but at any other time?
No. And I mean, what I find interesting about all of this is, you know, groups who won't believe anything at all the Israeli government says, then believe entirely something they said. That call did not happen. You only have to look, like, I'm really, really lucky and very privileged to, on behalf of our country, engage with other governments and financial markets matters very regularly. My diary for doing all of that is public. It's published. Any call that I have, particularly calls of a sensitive nature, happen with officials, because that's the way countries engage with each other.
Can you surmise at all any explanation why there would be an internal memo in another government's files saying that you spoke to someone and gave them assurances about the handling of a bill that materially affected their economy?
That's up to other people to explain.
But you can't.
I can explain. I can offer theories first. I'm not going to do it. That's up to others to justify. I can stand over the records of the department I'm in. I can stand over what I've done or haven't done. I can justify and explain that. And that is what didn't happen.
Case closed.
Case closed. But, like, yeah, so he goes, so Michael D is paranoid for saying that about a memo. And then Paschal goes, "Interesting you'd believe the Israelis about phone calls that did or didn't happen when I'm telling you that they didn't happen."
Yeah.
You know? And then he was like, they were like, "Why do you think that they did that?" I have my theories. And clearly the implication is obviously to make me look bad by being associated with Israel. I was like, so you agree Israel is a shitty apartheid state that nobody wants to be associated with? No, I didn't say that. You've said that. Other people, it's up for other people to speculate about what could possibly be the motivations behind. And then you go, okay, well, I'm going to speculate. What could possibly be the motivation behind them pretending that they had a phone call in 2018 to play the long game of eventually, like, you know, it's like, okay, well, once this information gets out there, it's going to be so explosive that it's going to take down Paschal Donohue. Okay, well, obviously, clearly not. Secondly, you need an enterprising journalist to get the story or something. Do you know what I'm saying? Like what it requires is the ditch. The ditch went, they found out about this, they reported on it. Like nobody had done it until that point. Nobody cared to talk about it. People still don't care to talk about it. They don't give a shit. And everything that this call happening would, like, it rhymes with everything that we know about Fine Gael already.
Yeah.
They don't want the Occupied Territories Bill to pass. They know that there are weapons passing through our airspace and are doing nothing about it. They just bend over backwards to, like, accommodate the Israelis. So it's kind of like...
We also understand the principle that, like, you just don't have to write everything down.
Yeah.
Like, if you have a phone call, you just don't have to record it.
Yeah. But even, like...
You know, like, the Paschal's been like, if I did it, I would have written it down. But I didn't, so I didn't do it. It's like,
yeah,
well,
exactly.
You just didn't write it down. You know?
Yeah. That's the thing that makes it suspicious, actually, that you didn't write it down and this other person has it written down. Why do they have it written down? I don't know. They're just weird. They just pretend that they had phone calls with people they didn't have phone calls with because, like, I mean, this is also like Boris Johnson stuff because, like, Boris Johnson in some inquiry or other, he was like, well, he was a basic, what did he say where he was like, if it was illegal, then I wouldn't have done it because it was illegal. Obviously, I wouldn't do illegal things. But I was like, and people were making fun of that. Like, that's stupid to suggest because the whole thing is about whether you did this illegal thing. And your defense is like, well, I wouldn't have done it because it was illegal.
I know. I feel if they were good journalists, they'd go, well, how come no one has ever, like, this isn't something people do. Like, it's very rare that, like you say, it's not a good plan by Israel. You know? Like, he goes, I have my theories. And then you go, well, like what?
Yeah, well, that's not for me to just speculate. And then what you should say at that point as a journalist, sorry, Richard, is you should say, what do you mean it's not your to speculate? Yeah. You've just speculated. You just haven't articulated anything. You've just gone like, look, they had their reasons for doing that, let me tell you. And what were those? Hey, it's not for me to speculate. You just did, okay?
Yeah.
Now the only thing that you need to do is say the thing that you're, you know.
Yeah.
But like, somebody also pointed out, was like, what's in this for the Israelis exactly? Because, like, they know that they have an ally with Fine Gael because they're blocking the Occupied Territories Bill. The reason, so what ended up transpiring is that, like, the Paschal rang up his Israeli counterpart and was like, don't worry, it won't, I can't remember. It was like, what's his, they said, he's like, he said, this won't pass because of something called the money message, okay? And the money message has been used for years now to make sure that good things can never happen. So let me look up and read the definition of the money message, okay? This is Social Justice Ireland. The government's overuse, you can see this, the government's overuse of the so-called money message veto is undemocratic and is a misuse of the Constitution. According to Article 17.2 of the Constitution, no law shall be enacted for the appropriation of revenue or other public monies unless the purpose of the appropriation shall have been recommended to Dáil Éireann by a message from the government signed by the Taoiseach. In other words, bills being passed that require additional spending as a result of their implementation must receive approval for such expenditure from the government of the day. So if it costs money, and most bills or laws do come with at least some attached cost for their implementation, then the government has the power to withhold funding and so prevent the passage of the bill. So they're basically like, well, our guys said that it'll cost money, so we're not going to do it. And that's what they've used, apparently, to hold up the Occupied Territories Bill. And it's the information that they gave the Israelis. What's that Bernadette Devlin quote? Bernadette McCaskey, I don't know her new last name now. Her new last name, the one she's had for fucking longer than she's probably had her original one. But what was the thing where it's like... Let me use that.
Yeah. Like, you can just easily imagine Israel ringing up and being like, we're worried about this bill. And then Paschal going, don't worry about it. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You know?
When we break the law, we go to jail. When the government breaks the law, the government changes the law. So this is what, like, this thing where it's like, Okay, it's passed both houses. So now what? Well, it doesn't have to be enacted. Why not? We say. That's it. And then you're just like, what the fuck is that? So if you're doing that, then obviously you support Israel. You just do. That's it. Okay? And so Fine Gael support Israel. So somebody was basically like, what benefit would it be to the Israelis to remove Paschal Donohue from his office? You know what I mean? Like, as in, like, I've planted this bombshell to blow up, like, well, I mean, one of our biggest allies in the Dáil, okay? And it's got a fuse that lasts, you know, like the guts of 10 years. Sorry, not 10 years. What is it? It's 2018? And now it's 2024? Like 6-7 years. But the idea is that, like, and when that bomb goes off, oh, babe, you better not be in Paschal's vicinity because might get taken out as well. And then it gets announced, and then everybody in the media, big collective shrug. Okay, well, that's that then, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Do you know?
Yeah.
Like, how can anybody...
It's sort of anti-Semitic, I think, as well, for Paschal Donohue. The Israel ring up.
Yeah.
And maybe they're like, we're worried about this. He goes, don't worry, I got the money message.
And then the other thing about it is you're joking, but he is also actually being anti-Semitic in the way that people use tropes, etc. Where it's like, why would the Israelis do that? You know what they'd be like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know what the Israelis are like. They're always fucking planning some shit.
They're schemers.
They're schemers. They're incorrigible. Like, who knows what they... But then, like, the latest thing to happen then is, like, people go, who cares? Who gives a shit? And then Hugh O'Connell, he's just been on one. He's just been like, I've got so many fucking scoops the past while. I just can't keep them all in.
Yeah.
I don't know if this, actually, he didn't break this particular story, but the one that's happened is, did you know that the Russians have infiltrated the Dáil?
Yes, and I'm scared of that.
Yeah. I'm fucking terrified. Okay?
Me and the rest of the Irish Reddit community are very concerned.
You're shitting our collective pants. Like,
I
got that story again. What the fuck was that?
I was going to send you the thread on it on Reddit, because it was just like...
That's actually hilarious. Okay. Yeah.
It was just so many posts about being like... they just instantly go to Claire Daly and Mick Wallace.
Yeah, obviously. Who are not TDs, so
who are not TDs.
Perfect. Yeah.
It's like, they're going to get... Now they're in trouble. They're in trouble. And then some people are like, Sinn Féin's in trouble.
Yeah.
But then someone was like, I bet that's why Varadkar stood down.
That's funny.
So where are you getting that one? Like, obviously, all the suggestions so far have been insane, but that just seems especially insane.
Yeah.
It was like a honey trap, wasn't it?
I have no idea what it was, but they were like, this person might not even have been aware that they were being used as an asset, despite the guards telling, or despite our secret services in Ireland telling them multiple times, you got to watch out for this. And apparently the Russians, like, basically the person they depict, who also, by the way, unnamed, okay?
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, we'll never know their name. We're just going to...
code name.
But like, yeah, they call them Cobalt.
Yeah.
And they've dropped it just before an election. They dropped it just before an election to be like, the Russians, you remember them? The communists? They have infiltrated Dáil Éireann. And you know what types they'd be fucking talking to.
Yeah.
And then one of the things they drop in it was like, he was sought for his connection with northern paramilitaries, which it turned out he didn't have at all. And he lied about having. And then you're just like, okay, so I know who you want me to think it is. And then it's like, so do you want to name them? No, I couldn't name them. It was like, why can't, like, I mean, like, is that not really like fucked up to not name them? Do you know what I mean?
No,
to be like,
name them.
There are foreign agents in our government, but we're not going to tell you who they are. It's like, all right, well then shut up. Then don't put it on the fucking front page. If you can't tell me who they are, then it's not an actual story. Do you know?
Yeah. Because you don't even have to say that they did anything. You just be like, they were contacted, you know?
Yeah.
Because if you don't, like, say you don't have proof, you have proof that something happened. You know what I mean?
A quote from the article in question. Cobalt cannot be arrested or charged as he has committed no crime. He lacks access to intelligence or classified information, but he remains a person of interest to the security services.
But basically, the entire thing is meant to be like, this is broadly the left, obviously, are implicated as far as they're concerned. And Sinn Féin in particular, coded left for this particular item we're talking about, not actually.
You can also imagine it being like Danny Healy-Rae. You know what I mean?
That's exactly who it is. Like,
it's like, my dad was in the IRA. It's like, he's not. We know who your dad was.
I met the IRA on holiday. And they told me I could come up and get all the guns that I want. And then they're like, but you could only imagine like him there, and it's like some fucking cold-blooded KGB fucker.
Yeah.
And then Danny Healy-Rae's like, oh my gosh, no, I'll get this one. Tell me some more stories about some, Serbian who you pulled his fingernails out. Do you know what I mean? He's just like super excited about all this shit.
Yeah.
And apparently it was during Brexit. Like, and they were like, yeah, we're going to infiltrate the Irish government to get concessions on Brexit. I was like,
yes.
So I was like, who's getting better value for their money? Okay. Do you think the Russians, who every opportunity the Irish government goes like, these fuckers suck and we hate them and we're going to cut off, like, by the way, multiple occupied territories bills to address fucking Russia. Like, once that stuff happened with Ukraine, it was like this, remember, like, and like I brought it up already, a truck crashes into their embassy and they're like, they're like, aren't you going to say something? And they're like, yeah, maybe you should stop invading Ukraine, you fuckers. And then meanwhile, Dana Ehrlich has regular columns in Irish media. The Cancorla meets her all the time, even like, and they're kind of just like, how can we help you? And I don't really appreciate what she said, but like, diplomatic the only way we can solve this is through diplomacy. It's like, and then, so anyway, the point is, how much power did the Irish have over Brexit? 0. Okay. So then you're going to buy like concessions that like, I've got this guy in there who's going to be fighting our corner. Who? Somebody who's got connections to paramilitary groups in the north. Okay, well then what the fuck are you talking about? And then the next thing that happens is like, we have a named guy in the Irish government who's a former Minister for Finance, only he's definitely also the current Minister for Finance, but they don't call him that, who was giving information to the Israelis, okay? We have a Minister for Transport who is also aware about munitions being taken through Irish airspace and is doing fucking nothing about it, okay?
Yeah.
And it's like, anyway, but I guess we'll just drop this in here and so we can talk about that instead of the thing that is actually news. It's amazing how, like, as soon as something approaches Paschal, it suddenly, like, evaporates. Like, he is just... He is the most insidious figure in Irish politics, isn't that? He does so much fucking damage, but like as soon as they come like within an inch of him, it's like, this is no longer a story. It's like Network. It's like Ned Beatty going like, you were dealing with forces beyond your comprehension, okay?
Yeah.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature, Mr. Beale, and I won't have it!
Back the fuck away. All right? And then the Irish media go, yes, sir. Thank you. Apologies. Sorry about that. Literally in the case of RTE. So anyway.
Like you obviously have Russian intelligence get operations going on, and then but you like historically have had English ones and continuing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And American like. It is mad the hysteria that's come alongside this one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Well, like, it's mad. Do you know the thing about it is that Russiagate also, in America, okay? So Hillary loses, and she didn't lose because she was a bad candidate. She lost because of Russian interference, because of fucking Putin. And then for years and years and years, all these guys kept talking about the Russians, the documents, and this, oh God, the Mueller report, when this comes out, and when they see it, oh, the Russians, they whip themselves into an hysteria, okay? And then eventually a separate thing happens, which is Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And now what it seems to have done is it's like Russiagate has gone airborne now.
Yeah.
So the pundits are like all infected by it. They're obsessed. They're like, within this binary world, Putin is Hitler. He's invading, and he's worse than Hitler. He's worse than Hitler. In fact, he's a fucking
Yeah.
dog, and he's invading there. And then it's like, you know, the brave Ukrainian soldiers who are fighting to the last Ukrainian at the behest of the United States.
And the Irish mercenary, who whatever.
Yeah, all these things. And then it's like, here's a picture of them. Whoop, sorry, I have to take that picture down because there was a symbol that I didn't realize was associated with a certain unsavory figure whose
With a
job, I
certain
believe, was to
Indian
just...
chicken restaurant.
Or like, no, he's actually like you know, a bit more, what's the word when you look for when you're trying to say like, I'm actually into the underground Nazis, you know, the guys whose job it was to like swing children by their ankles and smash them into walls, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
just pure evil fuckers, like not even like, you know, just the most insanely fucking evil people you could possibly imagine. And it's like, no, that nothing untoward is going to happen by just pumping money and weapons indiscriminately into these locations and just, you know, into these people. So anyway, it's just wild. It's just wild that like they've just decided this is our thing. These are the bad guys. These are the good guys. And I get to watch my little football match like I'm supporting fucking Arsenal or something, you know?
Do you think there'll be any more talk about this coming up to the election?
Which? The Russian stuff?
Russian interference.
What?
Do they
like,
go full blown like, you know, they're interfering on our elections? Probably not.
Well, there's a number, like, I mean, this doesn't sound like it's going to be related, but it is, okay? Which is another item that Hugh O'Connelly's like, this story isn't going away for Sinn Féin. And it turns out that Sinn Féin had like some guy who was like a press spokesperson for them or something. Or not press spokesperson, that wouldn't be right. An officer, somebody who was involved with them. Yeah.
He was a press officer.
Yeah. But like, he is convicted of like child abuse.
This was fairly mad, if you ask me.
Yeah, but the thing is, okay, so they have this, they go like, Karen Corla, I want to set aside time to talk about like the, you know, Sinn Féin giving like a letter of recommendation for a paedophile. It was like, you're talking to a man who gave a recommendation for a paedophile. Do you remember the letter of clemency that he wrote?
Yeah.
Like, he fucking loves pedos. What are we doing? Like, what are we doing here? But like,
and then
but
he
like,
was like, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Remember he said that?
What was that?
Corla.
About what?
The guy was like, but we need
In
to speak about
response?
this. Yeah, and then he was like, be careful what you wish for. You might get what you wish for, or something like that.
You know.
Because it affects the behaviour of our party.
Deputy Brophy, look at... Sorry. Take it easy now, please. Your point is not relevant at this stage. Please. Members should be careful what they wish for. Now, please.
There was some other one. Somebody pulled together like all of the recent like there's within recent memory there is like just hordes of Fianna Fáil and Fine Gaelers who are wanted for not only like sexual assault but like just, you know, child abuse, you know, child sexual abuse. Like they're all like the whole fucking lot of them. All right, not like, you know, I'm not doing this in a big like Epstein sort of big conspiracy thing, but they're like there is to kind of do this thing. Oh, this is. Yeah, sorry. I'm babbling. What I meant to say in connection with what you asked was Jennifer Carroll McNeil tweeted out this fucking thing, if I can fucking find it. I can't believe I did it without having it open.
So the thing he said, I can't remember what it was. But I'm pretty sure I saw a video of it. And someone was like, we need to talk about Sinn Féin's, this child abuse thing.
Yeah.
And then Ken Corla was like, it's not on the minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he's like, we need to speak about it. And he goes, the Ken Corla goes, be careful what you wish for.
He is so strange though. He does say stuff like that from time to time where you're just like, why did you say it that way? What in the world?
I feel like it's like that P. Diddy thing of like, when it all comes out and then suddenly there's like loads of videos of him talking to Justin Bieber being like,
yeah,
why do you come party in my bed or something?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, how did no one catch this?
Just like Ken Corla, his face just falling. I was like, you want to go there, man? Are you the whole fucking, it's pedos the whole way down. We can't do, Like, did you not see what we did to the records for the mother and baby homes? We're not opening this shit. Shut up.
Yeah.
That's the end of the free bit. Go to patreon.com/CelticLigers to hear the rest. The Ligers talk about Fine Gael's dirty electioneering aping the far right. Simon Harris continues to be the demon every mammy loves. Elon Musk speaks at a Trump rally, and they end reading a piece by Mick Clifford, emphasis on Mick. Maybe the far right and the far left aren't so different, but also they are, and Paul Murphy is a real smug prick, isn't he?